Seven.
Come on! Come on! Hi, name's Milton. I've been playing Pavlov since December 2021, and as of recording of this video, I have spent over 1500 hours playing this game. Most of the playtime was spent on playing push servers. Push is probably the only reason why I've spent so much time playing this game. Before watching this video, I do recommend watching Dino VR's guide first. This video will cover the updated portion of Push, since many changes were made after the release of Dino's video. Push is a game mode similar to Search and Destroy, where the attacking team has to plant an explosive in order to destroy the objective, whereas the defending team has to prevent the attacking team from scoring any objectives. Every attacking player gets his own explosive, and once it's used, the player has to either die in order to spawn with a new set of explosives or pick up from its fallen teammate. There are a few differences between Push and Search and Destroy. Push has a limit up to 6 objectives per stage, instead of 2 in Search and Destroy. There is no round ending upon explosion or defusing the explosives. After scoring set objectives, the game will enter the next stage. A timer will run before you're allowed to attack. The map maker may decide to use this signal in order to announce that another stage is ready to attack, or after scoring set objectives, you have to wait a couple of seconds before you're allowed to attack.
Oh, thanks.
The game is split into 2 rounds. After a round ends, the game switches sides, starting all over again. The game ends when either attacking team destroys all objectives, or defending team manages to either hold long enough until timer reaches 0, or attacking team runs out of tickets. Planting and defusing has simplified. In order to plant explosives, you need to hold the trigger, twist it, pull out the pin, and place it in the highlighted area. Defusing is the same story. Get close to the explosive, twist it, then pull it out. You start with limited ammunition. The only way to refill your ammo is from ammo box, stashes placed by the map maker, or looking for ammo packages located near fallen players. You'll get a sound notification that you have received ammo. Instead of buy menu, you get lockers with a set loadout. Pressing grab on any of lockers will consume 1 ticket. If attacking team's ticket reaches 0 and someone grabs the locker, the game ends, although there are a few exceptions. Exception 1. Getting revived by medic syringe will not use tickets. You can be revived as many times as you want, as long as medic has a syringe. To revive a dead player, you need to grab a syringe and then hold the trigger to a nearby fallen player. If the player has died recently and haven't respawned into locker's room or disconnected, the player will be revived. The syringe has a limited use, and after its last shot, it will slip off player's hand and disappear a couple of seconds later. Exception 2. The attacking team's tickets will never go below 5. Once the explosive is planted on the only objective available, even if the ticket count is already 0, you can still grab the locker, as long as the explosive is active. This does not affect control zone. What's the difference between normal push and hardcore push? The player's health has been reduced from 100 to between 70 to 50. This simple change makes the game slower paced and more unforgiving. Time to kill is much faster. This applies especially to bolt action rifles, as it only takes 1 hit to torso in order to die. You still get a second chance if you get hit in arms or legs. How do you know when a map is normal push or hardcore push? When you join the game, grab any locker, then take a look at your watch. If your health bar is all the way in, then it's normal push. If your health bar is either 3/4 or somewhere in the middle, then it's hardcore push. Positioning and weapons. Knowing what weapon you're holding and what enemy is currently holding gives you a few ideas on how to approach the fight. If you're using an SMG, a rifle, or light machine gun, you might prefer to take out enemies at close to medium range. If you have a long range weapon such as bolt action rifle or semi-automatic rifle, you might prefer to take out enemies at long distance. However, this may vary. There will be situations where you have to do the opposite. There is no such thing as a bad weapon, only bad position you're currently in, which is why it's also important to know what type of weapon is enemy using. If the enemy is using a long-range weapon, you want to avoid open fields as much as possible and take any type of cover. If the enemy is using a weapon that's effective at close range, take cover, keep your distance, and don't let the enemy get closer to you. The SMGs and some rifles have less effective range, allowing you to gain an upper hand if you're using a long-range weapon. Bullet drop and travel is also important. At far distances, you have to lead your shots, which means you have to aim higher or after the enemy you're focusing on to compensate for bullets' travel time. On most push maps, you'll be using semi or bolt action rifles. If you're having a hard time getting long-range kills with bolt action rifles because you struggle with achieving steady aim, you can try a few options. Option 1. Turn on virtual stock and hand smoothing. The virtual stock locks the rear position of the gun at the cost of mobility with moving your gun around. It's up to personal preference, but I have this enabled all the time. Hand smoothing reduces controller shakiness to be more manageable. Without it, you may have a hard time stabilizing your weapon. Option 2. Aiming style. There are a few techniques on holding the controllers. This depends on what type of controls you're using. For most VR users, it is going to be either Oculus Meta or Valve Index controllers. Personally, I'm using HP Reverb G2. The headset itself is great, its screen resolution allows for better visibility, and being able to see enemy far ahead is a huge help. Its controllers aren't that great, but they get the job done. The controllers itself comes with huge rings that allows me to stack them together, which greatly increases my accuracy and steadiness of the gun. As for the gun stocks, I have never used one myself, and I can't give them an opinion. When it comes to positioning, you want to utilize your map's surroundings. Does the building have a nice view on nearby objectives? Can you blend in with the bushes, making yourself difficult to spot? Does the hail provide you advantage? Simply by looking at your nearby surroundings gives you enough information on how to position yourself. Every map has its unique location, and learning how to position yourself correctly takes time and experience. If you're not sure on how to get a good spot, you can learn by creating a lobby and then playing the map by yourself in order to get a better understanding. This way, you can learn the strong and weak points of the map. Avoid running through open area with little to no cover unless you have to. Always make sure you're able to run to nearby cover with no risks that you get shot while in the middle of repositioning. Unless you have no other options and you're in a dire state where you don't have a good chance of making it alive, you can try firing at enemy's position. There's a good chance it may force the enemy to either take cover or run away in order to not get killed. This will give you enough time to get a better position. Use your smoke grenades in order to make yourself a hard-hitting target. Smokes are one of the most powerful grenades in push. They provide a great visibility denial, making it difficult for the enemy to predict the movement. They also help in planting or defusing explosives if the objective is placed in the middle of open field with no cover. Without it, trying to plant or defuse the explosives is a huge gamble. Another useful tip to know is picking up ammo. Every time you kill an enemy, there's a chance it will drop an ammunition corresponding to the weapon it's currently holding. There are multiple types of ammunition, ranging from pistol, submachine gun, rifle, light machine gun, and heavy ammunition such as rockets or anti-material cartridge. Using DefCam to your advantage. When you die, you are able to freely spectate the view of the map. Use this to learn enemies' position, how many there are, and predicting when a group of enemies is going to attack or if it's currently pushing. Every time you kill an enemy, the same rule applies against you as well. If you stand in one place for too long after you manage to take out a couple of enemies, you are going to be called out and quickly eliminated. After you manage to get a confirmed hit, wait a couple of seconds and then run into a different position in order to make enemy harder to pinpoint your location. Always make sure that you constantly change your position every time you manage to get a couple of kills in order to further increase your chance of survival and being a tremendous pain to your enemy. Always remember, DefCam and push discourages staying in one place for too long and slow attack. Don't give yourself reason to make yourself an easy target. Knowing that you are visible for a few seconds When you eliminate an enemy, it will give you plenty of opportunities to counterattack. When you die, don't get frustrated by the fact you've been eliminated. Use that time to view the situation the game is currently in, and next time, put that knowledge to good use and you'll get an upper hand. Be unpredictable. Make yourself an unhittable target. Always confuse the enemy on what you're going to do. Convince them that you're going to stay in one building for a while when they are spectating you. Then use that to your advantage and switch to a different position. Next time the enemy thinks you are still in your previous position, you'll catch them by surprise. Repeat the same tactic and you will always be on your edge and keep confusing the enemy. Change your plans on the fly. If the enemy predicts you're going to plant the objective, throw a smoke grenade to intercept their good position and force them to get out of their comfort zone. If the enemy throws a smoke grenade into the objective in order to defuse the explosive, the moment he tries to cross the smoke, throw the grenade to deny defusal. Always make sure to keep your unpredictable nature. This makes pinpointing your plan much more challenging, further increasing the frustration and confusion of the enemy. Communication. Communicating with your team is vital. This is one of your important sources of information, excluding game cues such as signals and game announcer. Knowing and telling which point is currently attacked, tanks arriving, huge cluster of enemies arriving, or giving warning of potential danger may save you and your teammates' lives. When you have a tank filled up with at least 2 people, one for driving the tank and the other for controlling the tank's turret, it is a good idea for the driver to communicate with the turret. The reason why is when you turn the tank left or right, you may throw off the player controlling the turret, especially when you are in the middle of a tank fight and the last thing you want right now is getting your tank destroyed. Always communicate with the turret operator. Audio. Being able to hear something does not mean you have to ignore it. Whatever it may be, the objective currently being under attack, the tank's loud driving, or machine guns firing, while you may not be able to understand these sounds the first time you play the game, as more experience you gain by simply playing, the more sound cues you will be able to recognize. Always pay attention to what sound you make. Sprinting or walking while aiming with your weapon while pushing joystick forward will make enemies hear you easier from a good distance, if no additional sounds are played. Simply by tilting your joystick slightly left or right will reduce your walking sound to a minimum. This does not apply to heavy weapons. You can safely hold joystick forward and almost not make any noise, as you're not fast enough to reach the intended speed of walking to make a noise. Crouching will also help you eliminate the noise. There are many sound cues that indicate what currently you're hearing and what information it gives you, such as tank's machine gun overheating, badly damaged, being on fire, which means it's going to explode unless you fix it in time, repairing, an explosion, medic reviving a dead player, opening and closing healing kit, and opening Pavlov pills. Each noise mentioned above applies to both sides. The enemy can hear these sound cues as well. Remember one rule: if you make a noise, the enemy can hear it as well. Tanks. They are a menace in their battlefield. If they are not dispatched quickly enough, they can roll the front line faster than your team is able to regroup and reach a good holding spot. It is crucially vital, and once you spot an enemy tank, you want to make sure to cooperate with your teammates to dispatch the tank as fast as possible. The tanks are Sherman M4 and T-34 from Allied forces, the Panzer IV and Tiger tank from Axis forces. The Tiger tank is the most important one. This monstrosity has the most health out of all the tanks, 1500 health compared to remaining 1000 health. The Tiger is able to easily take out any Allied tanks by itself if the crew knows what they are doing. All is the ways of effectively dispatching enemy tanks. Rocket launchers. Each faction gets their anti-tank class. Every anti-tank gets 2 rockets at their disposal. Each rocket deals 100 damage against the vehicle. The direction the tank receives hit does not matter. Tanks will take 7 rockets before being set on fire, and an additional 2 to destroy it. The Tiger tank will take 12 rockets before being set on fire and 14 to finish it. Anti-tank mines. They deal the most damage out of all anti-tank weapons, with just one properly placed mine to set the tank on fire, except the Tiger, which takes 2. They can be either thrown out, or, by pressing the trigger, it will drop to the player's current position. The downside to this, you are more vulnerable if you try to plant a mine against the tank head-on. They are also visible on the ground, which can be destroyed by the enemy. Grenades. Most of the classes should carry at least one grenade. They are also effective against the tank, taking around the same amount as rocket launchers. Call out with your team to throw grenades against the tank, and you'll be surprised how quickly they can be destroyed. Anti-material rifle. Rarely, but on some maps, you will be equipped with Barrett M99 in modern setting, or PTRD-41 in World War II themed maps. It's the weakest of all anti-tank weapons, however, taking twice as long to destroy the tank compared to grenades and rocket launchers. You have reached the end of this video. After watching this guide, you have a better understanding of the push. Next time you join one of the push servers, know that you won't be dropped in the middle of a fight, without the knowledge required. If you enjoyed this video, all I ask is, share this video to others who are interested in this game mode. I would like to give a huge thanks to following users: Miko, Jeff, and Taylor Jackson Lynn for helping with giving advice and feedback when making this video, British Colonist and Dog at 26 for helping with correcting and explaining push mechanics, and the Pavlov push for keeping this game mode alive. That's all for this video. Thanks for watching. See you soon on the battlefield.